It was back in 1966. It was a winter. It was a very severe winter, I seem to recall. Very, very cold. Lots of frost every day. And I was working at this company called Intertel. Most of the programs we used to record or go live with were for the American networks. The boss said to me one day, "I want you to go after Pinewood Studios." He said, "and one of the trucks is going down. This camera you've got to set up and you're working on a film." And I said, "What film is it?" He said, I don't know, just go to Pinewood." So my colleague Terry, who was a fellow cameraman, we went off to Pinewood, and when we got there we explained that we were coming to work on a film, and they gave us the name of the film as You Only Live Twice. And the guy said, "Oh, you go over there." He said, "You can't miss it. It's a huge set." And when we got to this set, it was one of the biggest sets ever built in the film industry, and it was the inside of a volcano which had been designed by the famous production designer Ken Adams. So we went inside and we met one of the production managers on the film, and he explained that what we were there for was to cover the launching of the rocket. Now, if anyone hasn't seen the James Bond film You Only Live Twice, the story is about it takes place inside a volcano in Japan, and the villains are inside this volcano, and they're going to launch a big rocket, an intercontinental ballistic missile against the West. Do you want to go after them? Shall we go after them? Now, you have to remember, in those days there was virtually no closed circuit television, so the only way the villains in the control room could see the pictures on the monitor was without broadcast cameras to put live pictures of what was happening where the rocket was being launched from onto their screens. So that's what Terry and I were there for the whole of this period. And it was a vast set. They had a proper monorail running around, and it had the biggest number of extras that had ever been used on one film at one time. It was just massive. The whole thing was massive. Can I help you? Can I help you? Yes, there's something you want. So anyhow, if you've seen the film, you will know that you fly over a volcano in Japan, and there is this huge volcano with a lake on the top, and what happens in the film is that lake slides across, it's like a giant lid, and the rocket will come out. You then cut to Pinewood, where we're inside this volcano. And it was freezing cold every day. It was so cold, ice was forming inside the volcano instead of outside. And it came to the day of the launch of this rocket, and we were down in what we would call the pit of the volcano, where the rocket was going to blast off from. So you had these 4 big motors, and there was smoke pouring out of this thing, and suddenly it slid up, and as it slid up, this volcano lid slid open, and the rocket went up into the sky. That was the first day, and they only got it partly up and they cut. So the following day we rehearsed the whole thing. It took a long time to set up, to get all the smoke organised for the rocket and to get it reset and everybody back in their positions. Terry and I were on our cameras filming or televising what was happening down with the rocket going up. I was going to pan up and follow the rocket up into the sky, and Terry was going to focus on the 4 motors with all the smoke coming out. Cue the rocket, and the rocket starts going up. The roof opens, the rocket goes up, and as it goes up, there's a Pan American, or a TWA 707 was approaching Heathrow, and Heathrow's only about 8 miles from Pinewood Studios. And he radioed ahead to say he's just seen a Russian rocket lifting off from a field in Buckinghamshire. It caused a huge panic. And anyhow, virtually every time after, they said any time you've got to inform the control tower and all the authorities around London that this rocket is going to be launched. But that was a lovely story. That was the James Bond story. We were there for, as I say, we were there for 4 weeks. It was a long time, but just for that one shot. So if you've seen the film, you can follow and see what was happening.